Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. On this series Strategy game, and we are returning to Let's Play of War in the West, where we are playing against the Western Allies. Just last time around, we did reduce the German pockets that we had created in the March region of Italy, and let's think about a little bit what we're about to do. Most of our forces are still sort of in the back of the lines after their mop-up operations, and they're only starting to come to the front line now, so I don't think it's time for a major offensive into the Po Valley yet. Additionally, quite a lot of our units do suffer from quite a bit of fatigue over here because they have been in combat operations for so long, and quite a couple of them weren't really ready to rest up for quite a while. In addition to that, you can see it's still kind of rainy, it's March, so it's not nearly really great campaigning season in Italy. And that does mean that there's quite a bit of heavy mud over here and there and so on. So it's not ideal time to start an offensive yet. That being said, we do have a couple of units here that can move around. I would like to rest them up a little bit, but we don't need to do that very strictly. We can do, and should, I think, start to exploit some opportunities. And in particular, if we do look at the fort levels over here, you can see that the Germans are starting to build up again, of course, some fortifications along this line over here. And I don't want these fortifications to become too strong. In particular, I think I would like to have some flexibility here to strike in various directions. As we've discussed last time, the Germans don't really have a lot of lines running into Italy. There's only really this line through Tyrol and then this over here towards sort of the lower Austria region. So, in particular, there's no single rail line north of Lake Garda. So if we can strike into this direction here, that would ultimately be pretty good. But one of the downsides of that is you can see there's a river line over here, and as these guys are starting to build up some fortifications, I just think it's going to be very tough to try to break through over here. Whereas on the other hand, if we were a little bit to the left over here, a little bit to the west, we would potentially be having a lot more flexibility to strike into various directions. They don't have that many good defensive lines over here, so I think it would be great if we could occupy this region here sort of as a staging area around the area of Modena. In addition to that, if we do look at what the Germans have got down here, there's nearly a full Panzer division down here, with a lot of very modern Panther A tanks on their side. So it would be great if we could get rid of these guys. Additionally, there's a Panzer Grenadier division here. It's not too strong yet, but they are definitely nice to be taking out. And then there's an infantry division here. Not the greatest, but still, if we could just pocket these guys here by breaking through here and then maybe turning south, that would be fantastic. I think it's very viable to do that because look at what these guys have got over here. So up here, in these three hexes, I think we can easily achieve a breakthrough here. In the middle of that, there's only security regiment. This is really weak unit. This is only infantry. There's not even frontline infantry. These guys are supposed to be in the rear of the front line, and they're just covering a very important aspect of the front line here. So I think this is where we could potentially break through. On the flanks of that, we've got to the south the Leer motorized brigade. I do think we defeated these guys once, and they have been re-established. Now, as you can see here on the bottom and the left, you can see these guys are only using Panzerjäger 1s, which I find ridiculous. It's 1944, and these guys were phased out probably 1942, and they have to rely on this very old equipment. This is an 1939 weapon, basically. It has no place in 1944, and I'm going to be happy to oppose these guys. On the other hand, they have about 21 anti-tank guns, so we shouldn't really frown at these guys too much, but I don't think they have a lot of staying power. Look at that, they only have 36 infantry divisions here and 9 engineers, so I think we can get rid of these guys. And then we've got in the north the slightly stronger part of the mountain division over here, but even these guys only have like 2 Marders, 2 Stuks, so I think we can break through over here. That should be easy. What's going to be a little bit more difficult is this down here, the Jager Division. Now these guys are not super strong, 51 infantry, but at least they do have 11 anti-tank guns, Stuks, and some other stuff. So this is not going to be easy. And most importantly, these guys do have level 2 fortifications, and they are on the hills, so that's going to be difficult. So let's look at what we're going to do for the air base then, and what we're going to do is, of course, attack 2 regions here. Bomber Command So 2 engine bombers flying in at 17,000 feet. These guys are going to try to disrupt them. And then we've got about 840 fighter bomber planes, Spitfires, Hurricanes, Typhoons, all of these things. And they're going to target these 2 units. I'm going to extend that towards this security battalion over here, simply so that maybe we can advance a little bit in that region and just get a nicer front line here. That's basically it in terms of ground attack. We've also got the ground support here being directly rendered to these guys. Oh, we should maybe change that up. You know what? Let's actually change up the ground support here by Desert Air Force towards this group here in particular. So that's the second, that's the 2nd US Corps. I think it's going to be alright to try to support these guys and push through over here. That should be all in all pretty okay. And then we've got, what else have we got? What do you belong to? You belong to the 8th US Corps. And you do too. So I think it would be okay if we supported you there instead of this one. So yeah, let's do that too. And I think it's over here. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so these guys are going to be directly supported, and we're going to soften up these spots here by sending in these bombers first. So that's going to be alright. In terms of our strategic bombing campaigns, we've got a further attack here on the oil fields in Romania. These things are already pretty damaged, but I want to basically double up on that and really make sure that these guys are not going to come back anytime soon. So yeah, that's just more or less as we did before, just trying to double down on that really. And then the other attacks that we've got in terms of city bombardment are one attack by the Royal Air Force Bomber Command on Bremen. The main reason for that is since we've defeated pretty much all of the synthetic oil refineries for now, what I want to do over here is I want to strike at the predominantly at the vehicle production, so at the truck production, but we've got some secondary priorities here, specifically I think on, I don't know, what else are you targeting? Yeah, you can see sort of various secondary targets, aircraft, AVs, all of that kind of thing, but it's mostly a nighttime strike here on the city of Bremen. We've also got an attack here by the 8th Air Force, so these guys are going to come and play around this region over here, predominantly because we've good fighter cover over here, and I won't bait the Luftwaffe into attacking, but also our second priority here, vehicle yards. You can see there's quite a bit truck production here at Stuttgart, there's also some in Mannheim, there's also going to be some in Gaggenau, which is somewhere down here, yeah, over there. So yeah, basically a lot of truck production down here in this sort of Württemberg area here of Germany and along the river Rhine. So that is pretty much what we're going to attack over here. There are some secondary targets, and that is the V weapon factory at Ulm, which is going to be nice to hit because that's going to give us some victory points, or at least prevent us from losing some victory points. Probably we're going to attack the one in Mannheim too, and it's basically just devastating this region. That's pretty much it in terms of the bombing missions. We've got a couple of air superiority missions where we are trying to bait the Luftwaffe into fighting us, and we'll talk about one aspect of that in a second, but that's pretty much as we do it every time. And then we've got some last attacks here. The 9th Air Force is going to try to disrupt some of the rail heads over here. We should see that. Yeah, you can see there's a rail yard here in the city of Appenai, one in the city of Reims. So these guys are going to be attacked, and then there should be one last attack here by Royal Air Force, 2nd Tactical Air Force, so tactical bombers. These guys are going to try to disrupt the V weapon factory here in The Hague. It's not going to be of huge strategic importance. Wait a minute, it's not a factory, I think it's a launch site in The Hague. But yeah, let's try to get rid of that anyway. I think it's going to be helpful. It's not the biggest deal. Right, okay, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, the naval attack down here did not work because the weather over here is kind of horrible. I don't actually know why you guys can operate, but these guys couldn't. But that's the way it is. So yeah, let's go ahead and execute the air directives and see what is going to happen. I guess we're going to suffer quite a couple of casualties here in the operational department because the weather still is not great. Yeah, there you can see the air battle starting around the 8th Air Force in Württemberg, and the Germans are losing quite a number of aircraft over here. That's a very good ratio. 2 to 1 in our favour. That's very nice. Although we tend to take more losses here on the operational side as we are nearing the second part of the air phase over here. So basically our air pilots are pretty exhausted by the end of the week. They do make more mistakes, and that does mean we're losing more aircraft as time goes by. Whereas pretty much the Germans don't really oppose us anymore in the second half of the week, or so it looks at least. So yeah, let's see what's going on over here. So these guys are doing interception missions. 5 Germans down at the cost of 2 of our planes. I think that's okay. It's not the biggest deal. Bomber Command doing its usual thing and not being very effective in terms of trading losses. So 2-1 losses against us there. But at least we did do some damage here against the truck production and against various other things, because this is the Royal Air Force bombing at night, so they don't really know what they are hitting. And they're sort of hitting everything. But when you're doing that very concentratedly on a city, it typically does tend to work, so I'm going to be happy with that. Not a big deal, but it's alright. Second Tactical Air Force. Okay, you guys did bomb The Hague, didn't you? Yeah, you did. And you did actually destroy the V-weapon factory here. That's nice. You did also damage the port, which is, I don't really care about that much. Rail yard is fine. You did do some damage here against the manpower, which is slightly uncomfortable given that these are Dutch civilians, so actually they are on our side. But no losses, I'm going to be happy about that. And then we've got the 8th Air Force, and you guys did very well, my friends. So we did take nearly, let's call that 75 or so planes lost on our side, so that's not great, but more than 150 Germans shot down, so that's a 2-1 ratio in our favour. And that is very, very nice here as we are fighting over Stuttgart, Ulm. Did we attack the V-weapon factory though? Yeah, we did. And we did some damage to it. It's not a lot, but it's some. Yeah, then there's slightly more on this side. And you can actually see that on day 2 the Germans did come out to oppose us. On day 3 they did too, but the numbers are sort of coming down as well. And then by day 5 and day 6 they're not even coming out to engage us anymore. So that is very interesting. And these air battles over here do certainly go in our favour, I think. So U-88Gs. That must be a 2-engine. I don't exactly know what that is. Yeah, but even the Bf-109s, single one lost there, single one lost there, 2 lost there. Interestingly, it's a number of smaller engagements, whereas historically in this time of the war, the Germans actually tended to come in more en masse and come in with very, very high numbers that they did assemble before striking at the Americans. Still interesting to see that we are taking that we are being engaged so often and still are doing so much damage. Over here, that's only single combat. Yeah, there they are coming in force, but they're just being slaughtered over here, mostly, I guess, by the Mustangs. 54 lost on their side. That's a slaughter. And you can see it's disproportionately affecting the least experienced troops, and that is leading to that sort of death spiral where the experience is kind of low on the German side. They are losing their very lowly experienced fighters, and they are pushing in more pilots, even though they have even not been trained up to the same standard. And it just starts to get low on that side. You can also see the highest experience here on the Jagdgeschwader 302. These guys with 90 experience, they don't actually take that many losses. They do actually deal nearly the most amount of damage here, and they certainly have the best ratio over here. 1 kill, 1 loss, still I think that is in our favour, so ultimately we'll be bringing them down. Also did look like you did a lot of damage here, so yeah, happy about that. The Americans are reliable as always. 15th Air Force, you guys did take some casualties when flying against Romania, but again, we are doing more and more damage over here. It's tiny now. We really need to switch targets, I think. Right, you guys were doing damage here on the rail yards. Very good targeting here. I appreciate that. No damage to civilians either in France, so that's nice to see. And you really didn't take that many casualties. Just 8 planes lost. Probably due to operational reasons. I'm not even going to look at that. Right, most of our Royal Air Force squadrons here are not that successful, except for number 13. You did engage... What, with Mosquitoes? No, Spitfire 8s. It's not great. Yeah. Well, these guys are actually not that experienced, so I wonder why we did take so many casualties. Well, these guys are coming in with drop tanks, so that does reduce their maneuverability. So I'm guessing that's one of the reasons, but all in all, not a great fight. Okay, anything else that we do need to look at? I think it's more or less fine. Yeah, not really many casualties otherwise, so yeah, I'm going to be happy about these results. It's going to be, that's actually kind of nice. So yeah, let's switch to the ground phase then and see what we can do, especially down here. Right, so we did bring that down from 11 to a 7, which is nice, but I'm not really sure that's going to be enough. So we'll need to see what we can do over here. At the worst, we can probably move in to occupy this mountain and sort of connect up this way. So let's actually start to focus on this stuff up here. So I'm guessing we're going to directly attack this here as the first thing that we're going to do. Although we do have some ground support, so probably... Oh, you guys do belong to these. That's interesting. Okay, I don't want to attack with you first, because that's going to trigger the air attack that we probably do need over here. Because one of our air groups is directly supporting this core, and if we're attacking with this unit, that would draw from that, whereas the other unit is supporting this, and I want to break through over here using these bombers first. Good. Okay, so what have we got over here? What can get over here and still contribute to the attack? So we've got the Special Service Brigade. You guys would be very nice actually to attack over here, because you are mostly commandos and pioneers and stuff, so you don't really have enough heavy equipment. On the other hand, that is also a good reason to attack here with some anti-tank gun, with some tanks, because these guys really can't oppose tanks at all. Okay, who have we got? We've got you. Oh, that's interesting. This is costing us a lot of movement points through here. It must be all of the mod. Yeah, there's a lot of heavy mod here. So you can't really get that far. So I probably do not want to move you up. Well, the New Zealanders could get up, so that's nice. How about you, the 2nd Armoured Division? Okay, you can get here, curiously, and attack. Okay, so let's do that. So let's bring in one of the British divisions here first to Ravenna. That's alright. Then we're going to use the American tanks, because, again, they're just so useful. Come on, let me select you. In attacking here, 21, 22. Let's get down here. Right, and then we're going to just directly do a hasty attack here against the security, because, yeah, these guys are basically shattering on impact. So that's lovely to see. And I'm guessing, you know what, we're going to directly advance over here, and we're just going to directly attack these guys again. Just going to push them out. That's lovely to see. Good. You do actually have a couple of more attack points here. So, you know what, let's try to... Shall we continue to attack? Well, you're at 62. I would actually like to safeguard you a little bit. So let's actually start an attack here. Let's do a deliberate attack with the infantry, with the 1st US Infantry Division. Okay, you guys actually routed, so that's lovely to see. Yeah, these guys really did not have enough staying power. Very, very interesting. Okay, do we want to attack here? Well, we certainly do. Do we want to attack now is the question. You guys could advance a little bit, but none of you can really get that far. Well, you could get over here. Can we... Okay, let's bring the 56th British Division into this position here, so that we can move the Indians out of there. And can we do... Well, we could do a deliberate attack here. Don't think we have any infantry who can get... Well, we could send you all the way up here. Okay, how about we send the 1st Service Brigade here, and we do a hasty attack with both of you. That is enough to get you to retreat. That's lovely to see, because now we do have really the flexibility here to move up. Right, okay, so you can move up. I don't think I want to move you into the city. I would rather have an infantry division there, which ultimately we might be able to do here with the New Zealanders. I think that's probably the best that we've got. Well, you can move up there as well. Yeah, maybe the Americans are slightly better suited to do that. But we've also got you. Yeah, the Special Service Brigade, I don't think we want to move you up there. So that's gonna be alright. Okay, let's move up the Armored Division here. Okay, you can't attack now, that's unfortunate. I thought you would be able to. You could get all the way over there, but again, then you couldn't attack. Well, the Armored Brigade group over here. Let's get you into here. And let's try to push against these guys. I do think they should be weak enough, because again, we are attacking here with tanks and they don't really have that. So that does work out fine. And now we should be able to move through here relatively unhindered. Now it would be great to push these guys back one more time so that we can really circle around there. Well, okay, you guys could get up over here. That's sort of getting in a funny pattern here, but I think it's alright. We did want to move some infantry into that hex. How about you guys? Well, you could get up down here already. And that is our primary objective, so let's do keep focused on that. Okay, New Zealanders are going to get into the city, so that's fine. US infantry could advance over here. Let's do that so that we are containing these guys a little bit more. You guys can't really get up to the front line. Anyone over here who's got any movement points? Yeah, well, you do have some movement points, but it's really not enough. Yeah, okay, fine. Basically, we'll have to contend with what we've got over here. So we've got 2 mobile units now. That's slightly too little, actually. Did we overextend ourselves here? Well, with 2 units we can move and occupy these 2 hexes. Can bring up these guys too. Okay, let's do what we can do first. Well, I would love to get here and have some movement points left, and I do think that for that reason we should not try to move through here, but rather through here. So I would like to push back these guys. Okay, let's move the tank forwards. Let's push these guys away. They're actually capturing that depot. That's lovely to see. But that does mean you should now be able to get through here. Yeah, you are. And you do have some movement points left. Issue is we haven't really occupied that. We do at least need one more unit to occupy either of these hexes. We don't really have any reserves here. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to attack too far. Well, I guess we've got these poles and we've got these bridges, so let's move the bridges forward. Let's pull off the poles towards over here. That's fine, and then you guys can occupy that. Now we've nearly contained all of these units. Do we want to move up with anyone over here? With these Armored Division maybe? No. You guys are kind of all fine. Yeah, we don't really have that much more over there anyway. Okay, we've got these guys down here. Now we could move in here to occupy that. And honestly, that might be the wiser choice than trying to attack this strong unit here. On the other hand, that would probably mean that these guys are going to try to attack us on this hex over here. So we've got 1 division over here, and that just wouldn't really work out for us. But we've also got a mountain division down here, don't we? Ah, curiously enough, we don't. You guys could advance a little bit, but really not that far. How about you? Well, you could get on that hex. It's certainly useful. How about La Spezia? Is a city. How about the Moroccans? Okay, we could bring the Moroccans forward and try to do a strong attack on these guys here. It should be enough to dislodge them. And I do want to get rid of that position with level 2 fortification. So yeah, let's move you in here. Do we want to do a hasty attack, or do we don't want to do... Okay, we can't use the Indians for this attack anyway, which is unfortunate, but I guess it's going to be alright. You guys can't move to Lisbethia, but then again we have a lot of units here. You know what? Let's do a deliberate attack with these guys. Sorry, do a deliberate attack with these guys. We are going to overwhelm them? Yeah. Easily, actually. Nice. We are losing some men, but not that many, so that's good to see. Good. Can we move up anyone now? No. Okay, that is unfortunate. I was hoping that we could move at least someone forward to this position. Well, okay, let's move the paratroopers in, but this is only rough terrain, so these guys are not going to hold out against any sort of deliberate action by anyone. So that's pretty much a no-no. Okay, the Poles can come into contact here against these tanks. These guys are now properly isolated, but there are some weak positions here. With these guys... Oh, you're in heavy mod. I should not have moved you here. This is a very, very weak position here. I don't think we have enough troops here to really make sure that we are getting along there. How about these tanks? Can you move up anywhere close enough? Not really. Do try to move you into here. I don't think it's going to be enough, but let's see, maybe. Yeah, there's just no chance of moving anyone there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the cavalry corps here. Oh, you can move all the way up there. That's interesting. Right, okay, let's move the cavalry corps onto this position here with the paratroopers. Hopefully together these guys will be able to hold that position at the very least, so that should be alright. And then we've got these mountain troops. Yeah, you can get on the mountain, as you would think, but not really anywhere else, which is slightly unfortunate. Okay, these mountain troops definitely need to get towards this direction here, so I'm simply going to move them over here. You guys can't really advance anywhere. Okay, let's get you there. You know what, can I move you via rail? No. Okay, fine. Move you this way. And then the mountain troops. Yeah, let's put them on the mountain. That does make a certain amount of sense. Okay, and we've got pretty much all of the French now in this vicinity. With the exception of the 3rd Algerian Infantry Division, these guys I do want to pull off because at some point we're going to get some new units from the French, and I do think it would make sense to bring them up towards Europe to help out in our landings ultimately. So I do want a strong French position there, but on the other hand these guys are all mountain troops, and I would really like to keep them down here because obviously there's going to be a lot more mountain fighting down here than there's going to be in northern France. So yeah, they will stay over here. Right, that's pretty much it, I think, over here. We don't really have anyone else to support this Polish position, or at least bring you forward any further than that. So I think that's pretty much it on this part of the front line. So in between episodes I'm going to move forward all of our units, probably going to start some reorganization of these forces here, bring them more in line with nationality and somewhat specialized corps. It has sort of organically evolved as we are moving up Italy over here, but I do think before our next offensive we do want to rest up a little bit and make sure that we've got a semi-sensible setup, I think. So yeah, let's try to do that, but until then I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope to see you around next time. Bye bye.